Hello, my friends. Today we have our fifth episode of our series Understand the Verse in a few minutes. Paul says, I've been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. In Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. The first question that comes to mind is how can Christ live in a human being? Is this just a figure of speech? No. To understand this verse, we first have to understand the incarnation of Christ. Christianity doesn't teach that God simply wore a human body for 33 years. It teaches that the Son of God truly took on our human nature and united it to himself without ceasing to be God and without the human nature being swallowed up by the divine. Why? Because is not united to God cannot be healed. Christ took our human nature, lived our life, conquered sin and death in that very nature, and raised it in glory. So when we are united to Christ, we are not simply following a great teacher from the outside. We are united to the very nature, the very humanity that God united to himself. That's why Paul can say, it's no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. The incarnation wasn't just an event in Bethlehem. It opened the way for humanity to be united with Christ so that his life becomes our life, his righteousness our righteousness, and his resurrection our resurrection too. That is the hurt of Christianity. Actually what Christianity means by the incarnation. God became man so that man might share in the life of God. Amen. Thank you for your listening. I really appreciate your time.